Hey, what's up, guys? My name's Nolan, and I'm a 2018 graduate of the Multimedia Journalism program there at Tech, and I'm currently a weekend sports anchor here in Greenville, North Carolina, and I would not be in this position if it wasn't for the programs and opportunities that are right there in Blacksburg. The thing is, though, is that you have to take advantage of them. When I was a student, I was involved in 4 or 5 different programs, from the student radio to student newspaper to getting reps in with local radio stations calling high school football games. If you're serious about getting into the sports broadcasting field, you have to take it serious. There will be parties and tailgates that you will miss, but trust me, it's worth it. My main tip is that you have to be assertive. Nothing, and I mean nothing, will fall into your lap. The sports broadcasting field is way too competitive to think that you'll get an email from someone trying to hire you. You won't. You have to get out and do those opportunities that are around you. An example of this would be my senior year. I was working part-time down the road in Bluefield at WVVA. They're probably there right now, doing their sportscast when they were short-staffed, and that's what kick-started my career. All of that was from just a desperate email that I sent to a news director, a complete shot in the dark, but you never know. Lastly, you have to be patient and take the opportunities that do come calling. I didn't know what I was going to do after graduation until graduation day. This was after months of applying to jobs, so if you haven't heard anything yet, it's not time to panic. But when they do come calling, don't be surprised when they aren't in a metropolitan area. Your first job will more than likely not be in Nova with all your friends or downtown Richmond. They'll be in places like West Virginia, Montana, in the middle of nowhere, Texas. If you do get serious about it, you just have to expect that those are the types of places that you're going to go to. So you just have to go there, put your head down, and get through it, essentially. I wish you all the best of luck in your job and internship searches. Feel free to reach out to me for any advice by email at nknight@wnct.com or on Twitter at Nolan Knight Jr.
Hey Hokies, my name is Kim Kodatek. I currently work as the Senior Content Manager for discoverboating.com. I am class of 2015. I was a communications major and a professional writing minor. I loved my time at Tech, and I can honestly say that it got me to where I am today. I've worked for the boating industry for the past 4 years. Right now, I am actually in Tampa, Florida at a boat show. My parent company is the National Marine Manufacturers Association. So it's the association of boat builders who are certified across the United States. They put on 18 different shows. My focus is on discoverboating.com. So I manage the on-site site content along with the social media and the video production. I love every second of working in the boating industry and the marine industry. Prior to the National Marine Manufacturers, I worked for a company called Boats Group, who runs the websites for boats.com, Boat Trader, and Yacht World. I fell in love with this industry, and I am a boater. I've been a boater my entire life, so this has truly been a dream job for me. I get to promote boating every day. If I could give you guys a piece of advice, I would say, pay attention in class and work hard, because what your professors are teaching you at Tech, you will actually put into action in real life. The technology, the ideas, marketing, communications, PR, it comes up in real life, and I am so proud to be a Hokie. I hope you all are proud to be a Hokie, and if you want to learn some more about boats, hit me up. So go Hokies.
Hey guys, my name is Rachel Anderson. I graduated from Virginia Tech back in 2018. I'm now living in Fort Myers, Florida. I'm an MMJ. This is my second market in the 2 years since graduating, so it's been a very fast-moving thing. Picked up everything and my dog to move down to Florida. Left my parents up in Virginia, but it's been beautiful. It's been wonderful. I've been here for about 2 months now. I'm an MMJ, which means I do it all. I go out and I shoot my interviews, I shoot my B-roll, I schedule my interviews, and then I come back and edit and put my story together. It's a lot of work, but, it gives you a lot of creative freedom every day in the stories that you cover. And it's, a lot of fun. As far as advice, I would just say, you can never make too many connections. You know, stay in touch with your professors, stay in touch with the people you interview. Never be afraid to ask questions and just kind of reach out and talk to people. Look up to the older people in whatever market you may begin in. They have a lot more advice and experience than you might think. Yeah, and just work hard. Like I said, every day is gonna be a challenge, and you just have to rise above it, and you have to work hard, and you have to push to achieve your goals. But I know you guys are Hokies, and you guys have had a great education. Never hesitate to reach out, never hesitate to stay in touch. But go Hokies, and good luck in your job search.
Hey Hokies, I'm Alyssa Ray. I graduated from Virginia Tech in 2011 with a communication degree. I'm currently working at the CBS affiliate in Raleigh, North Carolina as a sports anchor and also host the Black and Blue Huddle, a weekly 30-minute Carolina Panthers show that airs in several markets. But for those of you wanting to be in sports journalism, we'll learn the road to get here was a long one, and there are some things I wish I would have known in college. First, take advantage of your classes. I enjoyed being on air and I loved reporting and anchoring in class, but never focused on shooting, producing, or editing. And in sports, even in a top 25 market like Raleigh, you will still be expected to do all of those things. Pick up the camera, shoot sporting events if you can, whether it be a high school football or basketball game, get out there and get familiar with a camera. Second, intern. I interned with WSLS 10 in Roanoke, which, by the way, is also in the Blacksburg market. I got to follow reporters, interview coaches, and get hands-on experience with an actual news station. The connections I made were worth every second spent there. And don't be afraid to move. Most likely you'll have to. After my internship, I worked part-time in Roanoke, but my first full-time job came in Beckley, West Virginia, and I was the only sports person there. After 2 years in a small market, I got hired in Roanoke as the weekend sports anchor. Remember I mentioned those connections? Yes, keep in touch with them. After 4 years in Roanoke, here I am in Raleigh. Lastly, social media is everything these days. Make sure you take down all freshman posts of you in your Halloween costume. Yes, I had those too. Any inappropriate party or sorority fraternity posts. Yes, I had those too. Clean all that up when you're on the job hunt. Employers want to know you are engaging and professional. I hope all of this helps, and remember, do not get discouraged. No one is perfect. I still mess up. I still ask questions. You don't have to know everything. Just learn as you go and do your best. One more thing, go Hokies.
Hey everyone, my name is Miguel Pineda and I am a graduate of the class of 2018 from Virginia Tech, and I am currently an assignment desk producer at CNBC. So CNBC really focuses on economic, business, and finance journalism. That's kind of the main things that are in our wheelhouse. But we also focus a lot on general news. Politics is really big. Occasionally we do sports news and culture news. But because everything relates back to business and economics and finance, that's really what we focus on. So when I graduated from Virginia Tech, I really only had two options out of school. The first was an internship in Rochester, Minnesota, and the second was the fellowship at CNBC. I obviously took the latter and ended up getting hired on the assignment desk. So just a little bit about what I do on a day-to-day basis on the assignment desk. Basically, I build reporter hits. So when you see an anchor toss out on our air to, say, someone in San Francisco, I would be the one who builds that. So I'm in charge of making all of the lower thirds you see on the bottom, all of the stock charts you might see coming up on your screen, all of the full screens you see, any particular graphic, that's something that I would make, cutting sound bites, cutting VO, all of that is stuff that I do on a day-to-day basis. So just if I had to impart some wisdom for you guys in terms of things that I would have wanted to know if I was in your shoes a year and a half ago, the first thing I would say is read the news. A lot of you probably already do that, but when I say read the news, I mean read everything, not just the Wall Street Journal or the Washington Post or the New York Times. You got to go onto Reuters and AP, People Magazine, Time, The Economist. Really cast your net wide and really read as much as you can. The better, well-rounded you are, not only makes you a better person, but it'll make you a better journalist in the end. And you also should really know the difference between good reporting and bad reporting. Be able to identify how someone tells a story and what they do well in it and what they don't do well in it. I think that's essential in order to learn how to properly be a journalist. The second thing I would say is decide where you want to go. It doesn't have to be a particular job. It doesn't have to be a particular place, whether that's geographic or a company. But just kind of figure out what path you would want to go on. I would say, for instance, I knew that I didn't want to be a reporter. I wanted to be a producer. So when I was on the writing side of my fellowship, I learned how to hone my skills there, and I became a good writer. But I really focused on learning how to be a producer. I would say if you, for instance, wanted to be on air, practice speaking in front of a camera. Get as much camera time as you can. If you want to be a producer, practice working in rundowns. Practice writing and practice making sure you know how to get your elements together. Anything that you want to do, really hone your skills. So that way when you get into the door into a business and when you're applying for a job, they're going to see that you're good at that one thing. But I wouldn't only stop there. I would say become proficient at everything. If you're a person who wants to be on air and you're really good at speaking, but you can also produce, that's the total package. And that's something that's really going to stand out to a lot of employers. And lastly, I would say apply everywhere and be ready for anything. I know that I felt like I was an underqualified candidate with a lot of the places that I applied to, but you should not feel that way. You should let somebody else tell you whether you're qualified or not. Apply anywhere and everywhere. Just because you never know what's going to happen, you always want to give opportunities for yourself. But at the same time, be ready for anything. I went from Blacksburg to New York, and that was a really big change in my life. I went from kind of local reporting to national reporting on a much bigger scale in a subject that I literally didn't know anything about. And so that was a big jump, but in the end, it all worked out, and I learned a lot, and I gained a lot of experience from it. So no matter what, you can do it, and you should always be prepared. But if you guys have any questions about anything, be it CNBC, be it working at a network, be it journalism, whatever, feel free to contact me and go Hokies.
Hi everyone, my name is Sam. I am a digital content producer at WSLS in Roanoke, and I graduated from Virginia Tech in May 2018. My day-to-day, I don't really have a typical day-to-day, but a main part of what I do is I manage and populate our social media platforms. One main thing that's different from what I do and what a show producer does is I have a deadline every 25 minutes instead of just having one big deadline at the end of the day. So in order to continue to meet that deadline every single 25 minutes, I have reporter stories I can use that they've written up from their package or VOSAT scripts, or I can use different tools that will analyze what stories are doing well for other stations on their social media platforms, and I'll write those up, or I'll take them from CNN or NBC or some other wire service that we subscribe to. And then, of course, there's breaking news. So if we're lucky, we'll get a press release, and then I'll write it up. I will put it on our social media platforms, I will rank it, and I will push it out to everyone who subscribes to our app. But a lot of times people will send us Facebook messages or call into the newsroom or send us an email with a lead, and it's my job or the job of whoever gets that message to hunt down the lead, which can be interesting. As far as tips for applying to jobs, apply to every single job you can. Even if you're under or overqualified, you never know what's going to work out for you. And follow up. I had a crazy spreadsheet that kept track of when I applied to jobs, the response I got, and when I had to follow up, and it was really helpful. And I set alerts on my Google Calendar, which was really helpful as well. Last bit of advice, if you get a no, ask why. I got a lot of constructive feedback that helped me hone my resume, hone my interviewing skills, fix up that cover letter. So just it's your job to ask why. If you guys have any questions, feel free to email me at smith@wsls.com. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. I know it can seem daunting now, but you're all going to do great. I promise. And yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions, and good luck out there.
Hi everyone, my name is Emma Goddard and I'm a 2014 graduate from Virginia Tech. I majored in communication with a focus in multimedia journalism. And when I graduated, I moved to New York and I was working for a startup called We Women, writing as a staff writer for them. And from there, I moved to DC and I'm currently working at PBS as a digital producer. So that means they work with our producers to make sure that they have a presence on pbs.org for their programs. So building out their websites, sometimes creating content, and then managing streaming across our platforms. I think that my biggest advice for all of you, whether you're going into the workforce or you're looking for internships, is really just connecting with people. And I know that's something that, you probably hear multiple times, that networking is so important, but it really truly is. And whether or not that is, finding a mentor for yourself, just asking people that you're interested in for coffee to hear more about their brand, or going to networking events. I think it's so helpful because it gets your name out there, whether or not they can pass your name along to people from different companies that you're interested in, or, they can keep you on record for a position that might open up in the future for their company. It really, really is helpful. And just kind of learning more about what they do and, what different employers are looking for is so important. And I guess with that, another, helpful tidbit that I have about standing out is really putting a lot of attention into your cover letters. And I think that this is something that a lot of people overlook. And we tend to create kind of a generic cover letter that we can tweak a little bit and send off to different companies. But what I thought was helpful was, especially from a communication background, was just to, put myself into my cover letters. Tell them what I'm all about. Don't use your resume and experience in your cover letter. I mean, use it a little bit, but I think it's helpful to kind of just make it more original and more narrative. And I actually found that a lot of companies kind of reached out to me mentioning and referencing things that I had put in my cover letter and then kind of going from there. I think it's just a way to stand out amongst hundreds of applicants that apply to different companies. Coming from personal experience, I've had to go through dozens and dozens of applications for summer internships for PBS, and it really helps to be able to see who you are in that short blurb when, a lot of people do have very similar experience on their resumes. So yeah, I would just say, making sure that you connect with as many people as you can, and also on paper, just standing out, being original. Tell them who you are. I think those are going to be very, very helpful when you're trying to apply for different jobs.
What's up, Hokies? My name is Ryan Dye. I'm Virginia Tech class of 2018, multimedia journalism major. I am now give you a little background about myself. I'm now the head producer for the morning show WCYB Channel 5 in Bristol, Virginia, Tennessee. It's the Tri-Cities market. It's market 98 as of our last market numbers. This is my first job right out of college, right out of Virginia Tech. I was sitting in your shoes not too long ago wondering about what to do. I can promise you as a Hokie that what you've been taught, what you're being taught, not only at Virginia Tech, but if you have if you're doing internships and all that sort of stuff, it's all going to work out for you. Virginia Tech, one of the best educations in the world I think I ever could have gotten. I came into this job and was ready to go as a producer. I took off. I was solo producing by myself after about 4 days. Our morning shows 2.5 hours long, 2 anchors and a meteorologist. It's a pretty daunting task sometimes, but I've never felt overwhelmed. I've always felt like Virginia Tech prepared me pretty well for what was to come. So definitely pay attention to your professors, Professor Woolley, Bill Ross, Dr. Robinson, all those guys, Paul. You definitely pay attention to what they say, because what you're going to get at Virginia Tech, absolutely 100%, will carry over to what's out here in the real world once you get there. And I promise you, it's coming up way quicker than what you think it is. So good luck to you guys. If you ever need a reference for anything at WCYB, my name is Ryan Dye. Just put me on there. I'll be happy to help a Hokie out. We do have some positions open if you want to go look for those sort of things. And good luck to you guys in your job search. Go Hokies.
Hi everyone, I'm Cassie Simmons and I'm the weekend anchor / reporter for WOAY. I finished up at Virginia Tech last winter, so I was in your shoes a year ago. WOAY is a small station in Oak Hill, West Virginia. We're family owned instead of being owned by a large company, which is nice because we get a little bit of freedom that other stations don't have. I started in January and I actually got this position by going to the MMJ fair that you're at right now, so make sure you're taking advantage of this opportunity because you never know where it's going to lead. I started as a weekend reporter, which is how most people start out here. Then one of our reporters moved to Market 62, which is an awesome jump to make after only 8 months in Market 163. And since then, he's been doing so well that one of his stories actually got featured on ABC's World News. So this is a great place to start out. After he left, I moved to weekdays and eventually was promoted to the weekend anchor position. So not only do I get to report 3 days a week, but I get experience behind the desk as well. So it's a great experience here all around. Our reporters get 2 to 3 stories a day, and one of those should be a package. We use E&G cameras to shoot, Premiere to edit, and ENPS for our shows, so you guys are really learning all you need to know at Virginia Tech. Now, I don't want to take too much of your time, so if you have any questions, please shoot me an email, and I will make sure I answer you guys. Now, if you or someone you know is interested in applying to be an MMJ or a meteorologist for us, please send me an email with your resume and reel. Now, have a great day, and go Hokies!
Live from WJHG, this is News Channel 7 at 5.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Gretchen Kernbach. Welcome to News Channel 7 at 5, and hello to all my fellow Hokies. I'm here to tell you a little bit about the life of a weekend anchor. A little background: I graduated from Virginia Tech just this past May. I majored in multimedia journalism, and yes, it wasn't that long ago I was crying while reading the CommLaw textbook. But 3 months into real life, I want to tell you about my average weekend. I also fill the role as the producer, the assignment editor, and I run social media. 30 minutes before going on air, I put on 5 pounds of makeup and I make my hair as big as possible. So to describe my day, I come in at 2, I produce the show, I do everything in between. I go on for our first evening newscast, and then I do it all again for our late night newscast. The greatest part about producing and anchoring, I get to decide what goes where, and I get to double check every single word in the script. Yet there's still always one word I manage to mispronounce almost every weekend. Well, that's all for News Channel.
It's a great way to kick off the summer. Or
7 at 5. Have a great rest of your Sunday evening. A little bit about the reel I put together to get me here. My biggest piece of advice is to just go grab a friend and shoot stand-ups together. The more creative, the better. You can just film around your apartment complex and change outfits every take. And of course, throw in 2 to 3 of your best packages. Good luck to all of you as you dive into the semester. Just a reminder, as cliche as it is, it only takes one yes to get your foot in the door. Don't get discouraged, and go Hokies.